Okay, so suppose an investor has got £1,000 and the spot rate for the pound against the US dollar is £1 equals 1.5 US dollars. Colleagues, the spot rate, it just means the exchange rate at that moment. Okay, it's the exchange rate at that moment. The 1 year rate of interest is 4.5% on the pound and 5.5% on the US dollar. What would you expect the current 1 year forward rate to be? So, colleagues, a forward rate, this is a rate which you agree on. Okay, if you're doing business with someone internationally, okay, and your business is based on a certain exchange rate, you can say to protect yourselves against fluctuations in the exchange rates, because remember, exchange rates are constantly changing. So, to prevent yourself from those fluctuations, you can say that, okay, let us lock in an exchange rate that we're going to use. You even put a specific date. So on that specific date, when it comes, you're going to use that exchange rate, which I've agreed on. Despite the exchange rate changing, it can be different. Oh no. Am I breaking to everybody? Okay, so I try to log in. Okay, just try to log out, then log in. Where was I? Where did I end on? Oh yeah, I was still explaining the forward rate. Yes, the forward rate, it's a rate that you and the person you're doing business with, it's an agreed exchange rate for a specific time. Okay, you lock in an exchange rate so that when that day comes and you're transacting, you are not going to use the actual exchange rate of that day. You use that forward rate which you and your partner signed to use. The purpose of doing that is to protect yourselves against fluctuations in exchange rates, because these fluctuations, one day the goods can be expensive, the next day they're cheap. Other day the goods are expensive, the next day they're cheap. Okay, so as a business, you do not want those fluctuations. Okay, or even if you're getting paid from in dollars or another currency. Okay, it means sometimes your salary can be high, sometimes it can be low. So if there's a way you can make a forward rate with your employer and say that, okay, me when my salary comes in, let's lock in this exchange rate here, so that the day my salary comes in, you're going to pay me according to this exchange rate we have decided. Colleagues, are we okay with the forward rate meaning? Okay, let me just ask the ones who are hearing me. Colleagues, are we okay with the forward rate explanation? Oh no. A forward rate, okay, it's a rate that you and the person you're doing business with, you agree on a fixed rate for a particular date. Okay, you, the person you're doing business with, you say we're going to lock in an exchange rate which is fixed, so that when that day comes and you're transacting, you are going to use the exchange rate which you've agreed upon. You are not going to use the exchange rate of that day. Okay. You're going to use the exchange rate which you and the other person agreed to use. Okay. So, for example, if you are getting paid in dollars, all right, today the exchange rate, I think it's $1 is like 23 kwacha, I think. Okay. You can tell your employer, okay, let's lock in that exchange rate so that when the month end comes, you're going to pay me according to that exchange rate. $1 equals 23 kwacha. So when the end of the month comes in and you find maybe the actual exchange rate that day is maybe $1 equals 18 kwacha, you are going to be paid to the agreed exchange rate, which is $1 equals 23 kwacha, not the one for that day, which is $1 equals 18 kwacha, because you've already agreed on a fixed exchange rate. Is that okay, colleagues? Yes. And the reason why you're doing this is the fluctuations in the exchange rate. Okay. Business is meant to be stable, so you do not want daily fluctuations, especially if you are transacting on a daily basis. Okay, because today things can be cheap, other days things can be expensive, and that affects planning for a business. So even here in this question, here we're now taught to determine the forward rate, the 1 year forward rate. Okay, so I need you to remember this theory, the interest rate parity theory, which we're going to see when we do the calculations. The currency that has got the higher interest rate is going to depreciate against the currency with the lower interest rate. Okay, this is the interest rate parity theory from the, and it comes from the formula that we're going to be using. Okay, the currency that has got the higher interest rate is going to depreciate, meaning to lose value against the currency with the lower interest rate. Okay, just remember that. So now we need to calculate our forward rate. Okay. So first things first, you need to determine the base currency and the quote currency. Okay. So colleagues, in this exchange rate here, which one is the base currency and which one is the quoted currency? From what I explained earlier on, it, when I was illustrating base and quote currency, which one here is the base and which is the quote currency? Huh? Please do. Mm-hmm. Correct. 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 Colleagues, have we got that? The way there is a 1 unit, that is the base currency. Then the other one which has got more than 1 unit, another number, that one is your quote currency. Okay, so first things first, determine the base currency and the quote currency. So the base currency is the pound. The interest rate on the pound, 4.5%. The quote currency is the US dollar. Interest rate on the US dollar, 5.5%. So according to this interest rate parity theory, we with our forward rate, we expect the US dollar to depreciate against the pound. Why? Because it's got the higher interest rate. So let's prove that now. So the forward rate equals the spot rate multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate of the quote currency over 1 plus the interest rate of the base currency. Our spot rate at the moment is 1.15. The interest rate of the quote currency, which is the US dollar, 5.5%. which is 0.055. The interest rate on the pound, 4.5%, which is 0.0045. So first you just do your additions. 1 plus 0.055 divided by 1.045. Let's get our calculators, colleagues. Divide these two. Multiply that times 1.15. Yes. Are we all getting 1.161? Yes. So, colleagues, as we can see here, earlier, 1 pound was getting you 1.15 US dollars. Now, 1 pound is getting you 1.16 US dollars. Okay, so it means 1 pound is getting you more US dollars, meaning the value of the dollar has depreciated because they are now with 1 pound, you're getting more dollars. All right, which is following this interest rate parity. That the currency with the higher interest rate, excuse me, is going to depreciate against the currency with the lower interest rate. So here, the dollar has depreciated against the pound because we're now getting more dollars with 1 pound. If we were getting less dollars with 1 pound, then the dollar would have appreciated. Any questions? Yes, so this is basically part two of the question. Is the dollar stronger or weaker than the 1 year forward? 1 year forward compare with the spot rate, and you will say yes, the dollar is weaker. Why is this the case? That's when you say interest rate parity. This is the reason why. Any questions before we move? Okay. Explain the terms forward premium and forward discount. So a forward premium is what we've experienced here, where the forward rate is greater than the spot rate. When forward rate is greater than the spot rate, this is a forward premium. Then when the forward rate is less than the spot rate, this is the forward discount. Part B. Now this is the theory part. This is the theory part. Explain main types of market arbitration. Colleagues, go on Google and just type in market arbitration so we discuss. Okay, the theory part, this is where the discussions now happen.